Welcome, Star Wars fans, and boy, do I have a little treat for you today. We have an exclusive interview with the new organized play manager, but a face you know from Fantasy Flight Games. It is Xander Tabler. Xander and I are going to discuss all sorts of things, including formats, prizing, lessons learned, future plans for organized play, all sorts of exciting stuff. So why don't you grab a snack and settle in for a lovely little 30-minute interview with our organized play manager for Star Wars Unlimited, Xander Tabler. Let's jump right in. What's up, everyone? It's Dan with Main Deck, and as I said in the intro, today I am joined by the wonderful Xander Tabler from Fantasy Flight Games. How's it going, Xander?
Oh, I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be here chatting with you, and I'm back in the studio. Haven't been in here for just a little bit, and so super excited to be talking about all things organized play today.
Yeah, that is the big topic we're going to be discussing, Xander, because as has been said a little bit, but I just want to make sure it's super clear to everyone. The big thing is you had a bit of a role change or role upgrade, perhaps. Do you want to tell everybody out there a little bit about your just a second about your previous role at FFG and about your new role and what you're approaching now?
Yeah, absolutely. So my most previous role was marketing manager for Star Wars Unlimited. So myself and Alicia Gench, our senior marketing manager, were figuring out the marketing plans, how we were going to say things when, all those different pieces that go along with, talking about the game as a studio. And so it was a really fun role, and I jumped into that after being community manager for a year and a half or so. And so I really enjoyed both of those roles immensely. And then as of about a month ago, was offered the role of organized play program manager. And so moving from the marketing side more to the strategy around organized play, managing that team. And I'm getting to work on some really exciting things coming up regarding our events and the overall organized play program structure.
Yeah, so you have a hand now in, I think, what are some of the most important moments of the year for people in Star Wars Unlimited. Of course, we have thousands of players attending these events every year, and they are, for a lot of players, they're what really ingrain you with the community and with the game and give you that excitement and that experience. That's how I tend to feel about organized play. But now that this is like really in your purview, Xander, can you just tell everyone a little bit, or well, a lot, as much as you want, about what kind of organized play means to you and how important you think a strong organized play program is to the success of any TCG?
Yeah. To start with how important it is, I think besides great game design, which I believe Star Wars Unlimited has one of the best game designs ever, I think the organized play program is the number two thing to help with the success of the game and growing its popularity and getting new players into it, is basically having the ability to go and play in person, create those connections across the community, get rewarded for playing well or playing frequently. I think it's having a way to engage with the game and be rewarded for it at every level of it. And competition is an incredibly important part of the TCG experience, and what a lot of players come to trading card games for is to be able to connect with others and play the game. There's plenty of people who want to collect the game, and we absolutely are always trying to come up with new ways to engage those fans of Star Wars Unlimited. But I'm really excited to take a look more deeply at how we're engaging our more competitive players as well as our very casual players overall. And so I think organized play has a very wide range in what it needs to be doing. And so I think there's a lot of really cool spaces that we have that we can still explore with Star Wars Unlimited that we haven't even gotten to touch on just yet.
I am excited to see kind of what you mean in the future by these cool spaces to explore. Obviously, we've been running. So for people who are kind of newer to Star Wars Unlimited, there's been a pretty robust organized play program going all the way from the local level to planetary qualifiers, sector qualifiers, regional qualifiers. And of course, we had the Galactic Championship last year, where we had thousands of players in one giant room in the Venetian in Las Vegas, and was, I think, the most exciting moment of the year for Star Wars Unlimited. We followed that up, of course, with the Legends of the Force season itself, sectors and regionals, new promos, lots of cool, exciting things. And there were, just like everything, there's room for improvement, of course. So now that Secrets of Power major events are just kind of beginning, Xander, when you look back at how the Legends of the Force season went as far as higher level events, sectors, regionals, were there any components of how that was delivered to players, how it was handled, that you're looking at specifically to improve on, either as soon as Secrets of Power or at least beyond that?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's always, long-term plans that we're looking forward to in the future and really building something completely different. But there's always things in the present that we can iterate on between sets as we get closer to them. And so I think there's a couple of big ones from Legends of the Force some of them I would assume the community knows very well about, such as some of our items not arriving to those events on time. And so that's something we're actively working towards. And I feel really good about Secrets of Power and making sure that, players going to those events can get those items on those days, and I'm really excited to hear what people think of them. I think we got some really cool prizes that we're going to be sending out there, and we got wonderful TOs running those events that I think it's going to be a really successful set, and I'm excited to see what people think of Secrets of Power and having basically the largest card pool you'll have at any point in the Premier format, which is really cool. In addition to that, I think one thing that we're looking at is building some consistency across events when it comes to the prize wall structure and pricing and things like that. For how you can engage with these events outside of just the main event, because there's plenty of things to do at a sector or a regional, or especially the Galactic Championship. And so making sure that we have some consistency in the experiences that people are having worldwide, because this is a global game. We want to make sure it's just as inviting for people here in Minneapolis and people over in Germany or the UK. We want to make sure everyone's having a great experience and something that they can relate to other players with. I also think our communication is a big one for me. I know that the dates for those events were announced a little later than we would like, and we're going to be working towards some really cool and exciting announcements and keep adding more buffer time so that way people have the time to be able to book these big trips if it's somewhere that's not really close to you. As someone who's played a ton of trading card games myself, I know that traveling for those big events is a big cost to take on, both in your time and your money. And so we want to make sure that you all have the ability to get to these events and engage with them if you so desire. And we hope that you do. And so I think giving people a little bit more time and a heads up on some of those pieces will be really good. And so that's some of the big goals we have going into the future. And something that I'm really putting a lot of focus on is making sure that we're communicating very clearly on where things are going to be and also what expectations are from our end.
I really appreciate that. Definitely, Legends of the Force season, when those announcements came out, I'm like, I gotta figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
It was a short notice, but then Secrets of Power definitely turned that around already. I love the heads up. We had a couple of months for all the events to try and start to plan out our trips. And as someone who covers multiple card games, that is really key for me because I need to know which one I'm going to when. So yeah, great work on that. Really looking forward to how you're continuing to iterate on that into the future. You mentioned, of course, these are destination events for players, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do have the planetary qualifier level, and we'll talk a little bit about that, just a touch towards the end, I think here. But those sectors and regionals, big promos, big prizes, big glory, big points towards the Galactic Championship as well. But ultimately, a lot of players are there. When the announcement comes out, there's one thing they want to know about, right? They want to see, what are the promos like? How good do these things look? Can you tell us just at all? Now I know I've been told we're not getting any spoilers today, any card pictures or anything. It's totally fair. But what can you say, Xander, just about the future of prizing? Any teases that you can give?
Yeah, that is something that I actually got to have a hand in the first Galactic Championship, is some of that prize structure building and some of those card selections and those pieces that went into making that event what it was. And I think we took some good lessons from that and brought them into this season one. But as we look forward to season two and beyond, it's something that we're actively looking at how to hit on some of those iconic characters and very playable cards and give players the really exciting pieces of the game in a very new way for them. And so it's definitely something that we're always looking at on that side of things and offering cool new items. I think we did custom deck pods last year for the very first time. And so we're always planning out, okay, what's the next step? What's the next thing that we can give players that will be exciting and drive them to want to compete, as well as, participate in side events and things like that. And so making sure that there's a rewarding system across the board there is a big one for us. And so, some of the lessons that we took from the first Galactic Championship was the prize packs that were a part of the main event. And we brought those into this season. And it seems like those things are going very well and people are enjoying, having a multitude of characters show up. And so it's something that I think we can continue on seeing down the road. And so I'm really looking forward to what people think of season 2 as we get closer to that. It's something that's under wraps currently, but I'm really excited to start talking about what the future of this looks like.
I want to dig into just one thing you were kind of hitting at there as far as like choosing iconic characters. Um, there was an interesting choice of like we finally got a Luke Skywalker promo in the last season, but of course, on the flip side, that Luke Skywalker promo is only valid in Premiere for 4 months or so. Is that something where you are thinking, well, okay, we're going to have an eternal format in the future, so that's not going to weigh so much into whether we choose a particular card or character as a promo, or is it something where you took a lesson away from that and thought, let's try and pick ones that are going to be legal in Premiere for longer?
I think there's a good mix. There's a lot of different options that we weigh as we pick out what cards are going to get to be placed where. We're trying to make sure that there is a consistency across there and that you can play with those cards. But again, we are thinking about things like Eternal, Twin Suns, these non-rotating formats. So that's absolutely a part of it. But it's one that it goes into the larger puzzle of which cards can show up when and how often. And we want to make sure that we're providing cards that are exciting and new and aren't repeats of a card that you've seen consistently throughout that season. We want to try to create new and exciting things. I think you can see that with cards like Darth Treya showing up and who didn't get a prestige in different places like that. I think it's really exciting to see some of those cards who didn't get an alt art. Hey, here's a way to get that is really exciting and it drives players to want to compete and earn those cool prizes. And so that's definitely stuff that we are actually looking forward to. And it goes into this larger puzzle of Tyler and I working together to pick out what, art pieces, what cards, what pieces show up as rewards at these events.
Thank you so much for mentioning this idea of cards that don't already have prestiges. I have a lot of IG 2000s now, by the way, like a lot of
Yeah.
IG 2000s. And I remember at the Portland sector, I was looking at that promo and thinking like, why don't I have a Ruthless Raider? Like, why don't I have a prestige, like a card that I play all the time? And so I'm glad that that's something that the team is cognizant of and is looking at. And I'm really hoping to continue to see more of those really nice staple cards, even if they don't have a fancy name on them. I'd love to see promos of those in the future too.
Oh yeah, some of my favorite ones for this last the Legends of the Fourth season, like Shatterpoint, is just an awesome card and an awesome art piece. And so there's definitely room for a lot of those cool, iconic, playable cards. But it's also really cool to see your favorite character show up in a new way and different art styles. Because there's people that like myself that want to collect every version of a specific character when they play a game, and it's fun to have those chases as well.
Yeah, those IG 2000 fans out there, they've been eating well. All right. Let's move on to something else. This is so this was an exciting announcement at the Galactic Championships last year. Which was that, or this year. Sorry, it's already January in my head.
I feel it.
But in the last Galactic Championships, in sort of the keynote at the end, it was announced that limited format was coming to the next season, the Legend of the Fourth season of organized play. And then we had the Philadelphia sector qualifier where we ran the first limited event. So for people who aren't aware, I just want to make sure that's clear. That means sealed draft. That means you don't bring a deck. You build a deck, opening packs on the spot through those formats. And then you battle with other people in what I think is a real test of like true game skill fundamentals. Xander, I want to hear how you feel the first limited sector went, and if there's any lessons you can share that the team learned from that.
Oh yeah, I think it went really well. It was awesome to see, the outpouring of support for the limited format across the board. It's one that we're looking to continue supporting because I think it really sets Star Wars Unlimited apart. There's not a lot of other trading card games that are built with limited structures in mind, and it's something that we take into all of the design processes, being able to create this really cool and rich limited environment. And so I'm excited to see that continue. There's definitely some lessons to be learned on how we do some of the structuring and some of the our rules regarding like how the event will run. And so there's a lot of pieces that we're taking into consideration as we build these pieces out to make sure people have the best possible experience. But overall, I think this first set's limited events went swimmingly. It was great. Congratulations to all those who played in it. I was following along on all of those events from home, and it was really, really neat to see people get to experiment with Legends of the Forest, and I'm really just dying to see how everything goes for the Secrets of Power as well.
Yeah, and the event results were, I think, the craziest thing. Back-to-back sector wins by Mike.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
congrats.
Wow, crazy. I mean, again, I really think that highlights the skill of players, right?
Mhm.
I think a lot of people who don't play as many super competitive card games tend to not like they tend to overestimate, I think, the amount of like luck and chance that goes into, you know, getting a good pool or
Mhm.
getting a good, you know, just good first picks in your draft or whatever. But I don't think there's any format that tests your true understanding, your true game sense as much as Limited does. And Xander, you and I had the chance, I think at Gen Con last year, we got to do a little
Yeah.
draft together as well. Um, so I know you guys are sharp on your drafting as well.
Oh yeah, we love draft. I know specifically in the organized play team, it's at least 2 or 3 people's favorite format is draft, and so we did our internal planetary qualifier last set, and we did that as limited to celebrate it being introduced into the competitive circuit for this game, and it was so fun. I think 3, or including myself now on the organized play team, 3 of us made the top 8 cut for internally, and so there's definitely some big draft fans here in the house, and I know that we played sealed during the Swiss rounds as well, and it's super fun. I really enjoyed Legends of the Forest there, and so I'm excited to see where things go from here. But you brought up a really interesting point about the Mike winning both of those sectors, and I wanted like congrats again to Mike, and I'm really excited with this new point structure that we get to follow these journeys across the season. Last year, you just got an invite, and then if the invite you already had one, you got passed down. And I think this new season structure with the points allows us to really watch how players do across the season and see how they're going. And it's also a rewarding experience for people to keep getting more points and have the chance to get that trip to the Galactic Championship. And I'm honestly dying to see how this set's events go, because it's been really interesting to see people rise and fall within the leaderboard, and getting to chat with people at the local game store. And be like, oh, how many points do you have? Are you getting close to the invite? Like, where do you sit? Are you planning trips around trying to get those last couple points? And so it's cool to see people already just, going wild with the number of points they've already picked up. And so I can't wait to see that continue.
Yeah, I've seen other content creators too who have like, as soon as the season started, they immediately were starting to track their points because they want to be known as, you know, the best player at this deck or something. They want to be the highest ranked one on the leaderboard. So yeah, I love that feature. I think in card games, when you get to engage with the community at that level with that sort of like leaderboard, fostering friendly rivalries, competition like that, I think that is absolutely huge, and critical for a game to have. So really, really, really like the addition of that going into this season, and I can't wait to see who makes it into Galactics next year.
For sure.
Oh, I had one more question. I don't know if you could tell
Yeah.
this. Can you tell us who won the internal limited PQ?
Oh gosh, yes, I can. Now I'm getting nervous about it. I believe it was Logan Giannini,
Oh,
one of our new designers, and
okay,
so
one of the new designers. You gotta look out for Logan.
yeah,
Okay.
Logan is very good. I think he's won also another internal PQ that we did with all of Asmodee USA here, and it was an invite event. And so I think he won that one as well, or did very well. He's a great player. And so we actually have our next internal planetary qualifier for Secrets of Power starting tomorrow. And so this one will be premier format, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
All right. Excellent. My money's on Jack personally.
I feel so bad. I got Jack to come up here to Minnesota and join us, and I have pushed him out of the top 8 cut in 2 different events since he's gotten here, with
Wow.
both of us going 8 and 9 with the same record. And he just bubbled out. It's been painful. So
Xander, you're the gatekeeper.
I know. Well, I didn't want him to get too confident. He's now the face of this game on the streams. I gotta keep him humble still.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's my role for our competitive team for other games as well. I got to make sure people understand their position so that they work harder so
Yeah.
that they can compete better in the next event. So
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Oh yeah, I think Jack's going to be bringing whatever beats my deck tomorrow. So I'm trying to keep my deck list hidden as of now.
I wouldn't blame him at all.
Yeah.
All right. So outside of Fantasy Flight's internal crazy formats, I want to bring things back down now. We're going to talk about the local level. I don't want to skip that, right? Because when we're talking about organized play, it's great to talk about all these 500, 1,000, 2,000 player events and all the crazy stuff that happens when you get to travel to them. But the majority of gameplay is done at the LGS in the lifetime chairs at the LGS or whatever. Um, players are there competing for local level prizing, the event packs. They're going to pre-releases, and a huge part of the experience as well. And then, of course, up to the store champs level, where we have nice promos to win for top cut and everything. I wanted to ask you, Xander, now that you're in this role, you're in the seat, you're in the throne. What are you looking at changing, if anything, for the local level of play? Or do you like how it's going right now?
Yeah, that is a great question. I can't share too much about where things are going specifically, but I will say that I am absolutely looking into our, casual tier events and some of that local level things. Because as you mentioned, like that's where most of our players are playing. These massive events that we're hosting are awesome, and it's so great to see all these players coming out and traveling really far and getting some really cool rewards for doing it, and all the cool prizing on the prize wall and in the main event. But it's also the lifeblood of the community is in that local store, getting to engage weekly with the people that you're near. It's really fun when I travel. I try to swing by an LGS and see, okay, who's playing, what decks are people playing? Is it very different from where we're at? And it's always really fun to do that. And so we're taking a really good look at it. And I think the one thing that I can share about what we're going to be doing is I'm sure there will be changes coming up in the future regarding what's going on in the store. And I'm excited to work with some of our distributors to basically meet the needs of each community where they're at. Because again, worldwide game, there's going to be different needs based on where people are playing and what the stores would like to see from us. And so we're trying to make sure that we can address all those pieces. But we really want to take a look at this program and make sure that we're being intentional in what we're providing the stores and what we're providing players. And we want to make sure that we're, encouraging players to not just treat this as sort of a practice for maybe their planetary qualifier or big event coming up, but engaging as a community, getting to play more casually and be a part of that, and rewarding players for doing that too. And so there's going to be a lot of intention behind some of the changes that will be coming up within our more casual and store-focused events. Obviously, planetary qualifiers will still be very competitive, but for the weekly play, we're going to be looking at, creating a system that rewards players for, showing up and being a part of it, and doing that often and getting to engage in other formats. And we want to make sure that stores and players are provided with the tools necessary to be able to do that. Because I think we have some really cool things. You mentioned Limited. We have Premier. We're getting close to our Twin Suns Preconstructed Decks we've announced, which is really exciting. So Twin Suns is going to be a huge focus for us as always. And then also with rotation happening on Lawless Time, we'll have the Eternal format coming up as a piece that will be supported. And so we really want to focus on those different formats, those four specifically, and making sure that every store has the ability to run events for that, and players are rewarded for engaging in different ways and being a part of it overall.
Wow, I'm impressed. I feel like right now you're reading my mind. I was about to dig right, like I had prepared my question, like Twin Suns Precons are coming. Are we looking at different formats or whatever? But you just, yeah, okay, you laid it all out there. I am really anticipating the release of those Twin Sun Precons. I think, at least at my local level, there has been just a little trepidation to really commit to Twin Suns. And I'm really looking forward to this thing that I can either say, yeah, buy this off the shelf, it's really cool, or just that kind of care and attention that the format gets to really feel like it's got something unique to offer, something that can burgeon from just putting a little bit of care into it, that I think those precons and hopefully, a little bit of attention from the OP program can deliver too.
Absolutely. I think Twin Suns is one of our most fun formats, and I'm excited for more people to get to engage in it without maybe that first hurdle of building a 80 card deck with all singletons and things like that. Here's that entry point, and we could provide resources on, adjusting the deck to different things, adding different leaders that have come out over time. And I think it's also really going to be really fun when, rotation happens, and this is an eternal format. So you get to do some of those wacky combos and some of those things that were never meant to exist together within Premier, but do exist within Twin Suns if you can make them happen. And so I'm really excited to see what people think of the Twin Suns Preconstructed Decks. They're like one of my favorite things we've ever done, and I'm just dying to get my hands on them myself. And so it should be a really, really great time in 2026 for Twin Suns.
Yeah, the year of Twin Suns. You all heard it here first. That's official. No, that's not.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, there's one thing I wanted to share a little bit about our in-store organized play, which will be shared during the live stream with booster pack changes. And so this is something that is going to be brand new information, sort of,
okay,
to players, which is that we are changing the borders for all of our in-store event promo cards. So all of the cards will have a brand new border, starting with a Lawless Time, for weekly play store showdowns and planetary qualifiers. We know this is something that players have been asking for a little while now, and so we've been working on this in the background. And we couldn't say anything just yet, but this is a big piece that I'm excited for the organized play program to be able to talk about more. And it's something that we're going to keep iterating on what things look like and what cards show up there. But I am just excited to hear what people think of this change and what some of these new cards are.
Xander, can I apologize if this is too forward, but I love you. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it.
I've been on the front lines of the anti-gradient force since release. I'm really curious to see what the new ones look like. But from everything I've seen with Star Wars Unlimited, with FFG, it's always iterating, and continuing to find what works and what doesn't, and try and please the most people. So it hasn't stopped me from using the cards, of course, but I was like, I want to see some change. So I'm excited to see some change.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, a big part of what we're doing consistently across all of our teams is iterating on what the feedback is, what we can do different, what we can do better. Obviously, there's always some challenges, whether those are logistics or just how the structure of our game works or organized play works. Is sometimes they'll take a little longer, but we're always thinking and planning towards creating this ideal environment that is based on player feedback. It's not something where we hear it and we go, hey, thanks for the feedback, and we toss that to the side and keep moving in the direction that we want to. We want to make sure that we're providing the experience that players really want, especially on the organized play side. Obviously, we want to make sure that you're having a great time at these events and feel like you're, earning cool cards and mats and getting to experience these in a fun way. And we want to keep building that program in that direction. I think this is a really cool step for as we enter year 3 of this game.
I'm even more excited now than I was. And I can't wait. That sounds great. Speaking of year 3, this is the big one. Okay. Mm-hmm. So year 3, we have the release of A Lawless Time, which, by the way, the set looks crazy so far. It looks super, super fun.
It's so good. So when I was marketing manager, I helped create some of the marketing beats for this, and it was building this marketing plan before switching roles. And it's one that I was like, I want to work on this so bad. It's one of my favorite sets ever. And so it's just for any game, true, if I'm being honest. And it's just really fun and exciting. And I think players have a lot to look forward to in March.
Yeah. One of those things that they get to look forward to is the first, as you mentioned earlier, set rotation happening. So Spark of Rebellion, Shadows of the Galaxy, Twilight Republic are all going to be taking a little nap for a little bit. They're going to be heading into Eternal format. Well, Jump to Lightspeed Forward will now be the new Premier format. Now, there is one thing that I know every player has had questions about. And I know this from every card game I've ever played that has done this, but what is actually going to happen, with Eternal format, with these cards? I think some card games in the past have approached it like, well, yeah, you can play that format if you want to. But it's really, they're still legal just for the purpose of saying that they are. And really the follow through always comes in, or the whether or not it works comes through the follow through of whether or not you can actually go to events where you get to play this format. And now going into this next season, we're going to have not just Premier and Eternal, but like we said, limited formats as well. And then there's that trilogy format as well, which that's a really cool format that I think we'd love to see. A lot of players would love to see at some, at least at side events. But what can you tell us about the next season and all these different formats? What are people going to be expecting to play at the highest levels of competition?
Yeah. One thing I believe that has, been out there in the community as a discussion, and I'm happy to confirm today, is that there will be Eternal format planetary qualifiers starting with A Lawless Time. I can't talk about just the numbers or anything just yet, but it is something that we are doing. We do want to support the Eternal format. As you mentioned, there are different ways to support it, and the levels of support will be different. Obviously, we want Premier to be our forefront competitive version of this alongside Limited. But we want to support the Eternal format, and so we'll actively be looking at ways to have some of those events at different places, such as like the Galactic Championship, different large-scale events overall. We want to make sure people can engage in the Eternal format in different ways. And it'll be something that we are going to start by, gauging interest, similar to what we did with the Limited format outside of the competitive structure, where we had some of those different events where people could partake in Limited, and we'd see what, how people felt about it, how much demand there was in the community. And so if there's a demand for Eternal, that's definitely something we will look more and more into, but it's something we want to start by gauging and then build on top of, the excitement for it. But I've seen a lot of people really excited for it. So I'll be intrigued to see what people think once A Lawless Time is out and they have this new card pool, and it looks a little different than it does currently, which is exciting. And then you
Yeah.
mentioned Trilogy as well. I was just going to say, we're not adding that to the competitive series, and we will talk about season 2 in the future, but that is not currently a part of it. But it's definitely something that I like seeing side events at all of our events for, and it's a really fun format, like sub format sort of for Premier and Eternal, and a way to engage with those. But it's definitely one that we are keeping an eye on and seeing how people feel about it. But I've seen a lot of people, building their decks for it, and with the full, 6 sets here, it's a lot easier to build those decks, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to just say that to all the Boba and Django Fett fans out there, your PQs are coming. You'll have a chance again. So that's very exciting. But in addition, I have talked to a lot of people. When I get a chance to go to sectors and regionals, I end up meeting a lot of people who follow the channel, who follow the content, or just want to say hi. And a surprising number of those people come up to you and say, "Hey, do you know why there's no trilogy side event here?" Yeah, I'm really personally just throwing that out there. I'm really looking forward to seeing that because I know there's a lot of people out there who are interested in being able to play the side events too.
Oh yeah, I am with you, and I hear those players as well. I also really love Trilogy, and so personally, I would love to see us having some more of those at side events and different ways to engage with Trilogy as a whole, because I think it's a really testing game in the same way that Limited is, where it doesn't let you just play with your default basic deck that you prefer. You have to learn a couple of these different things, and there's always going to be that chance of them taking out your favorite deck, and you have to be able to put together a winning game plan with those other two. And so it's a super exciting format, and so it's definitely one that we'll be talking about more as a side event in different places there. And so I'm excited for people to see what future seasons and events look like with that involved.
Okay. So just to kind of round things out here, we have the announcement that we are going to have PQs in the Eternal format. We expect to see Premier and Limited PQs, sectors, and above. Yes. And Trilogy moving to side events, hopefully at more events than it is right now. Is that kind of the general hope, right?
Yeah, generally, I would say that's what you can expect leading up to the Galactic Championship this year. I can't talk anything about season 2 going into there. There will be different things likely happening, and a lot of these building on the same successes we've had so far. But yeah, I'm definitely with you on those pieces that you just mentioned there.
Okay, awesome, cool, very, very exciting. Now, Xander, I think we've had a nice little breakdown of your role, what you're kind of looking to improve, iteration, plans for the future. But right now, Secrets of Power is legal. Sectors of Power too, I guess. Secrets of Power is legal. Everyone's playing Premier, but the big question everyone wants to know is, Xander, what's your favorite Secrets of Power Premier deck?
Oh boy. So this is such a tough question for me. Because as mentioned, we had the planetary qualifier tomorrow, and I still haven't decided what deck I'm bringing. I've stuck with Yoda from Twilight of the Republic through thick and thin. He's my favorite deck from the first year for sure. But 2 other decks have been calling my name lately. I've been playing a lot of Thrawn from Jump to Lightspeed with Cunning. Everybody loves Legacy Run. You have to throw some Unnatural Lives in there, and the Grand Admiral Thrawn unit from Secrets of Power specifically is also a fun addition to that if you can build a board state. I'm a huge fan of that. And then if I was going to pick a Secrets of Power one that feels very specific to this, the new Sabe leader is one of my favorites, and it's been just one that I've been kind of grinding games with and doing fairly well with it, playing a double Cunning for Sabe, and it lets me do some of the stuff I really loved during Spark of Rebellion meta, where it was like the cool double aspects, plus you have like a new adventure now, so you're bouncing the Bodhi Rook unit back and forth and just tearing the hand apart as you go, and it feels really fun and exciting. And so one of those 3 decks will likely be running, but I could also throw something at the last minute. But I'd say Sabe is probably my number 1 Secrets of Power specific leader and deck.
Somehow I knew you were going to say Sabe. I knew you were going to be that player who's just tearing my hand apart, just destroying my plans at every turn, ruining my top decks constantly.
It's just creating like a worse version of what the deck could do to your opponent normally. Sometimes you don't get lucky though. Sometimes it's just 2 good options and you go and get to discard something that's a problem. But when it does hit and you can just remove that next play, and it just forces your opponent to like less optimal decisions until you bring out your leader, and then it can get explosive with things like Cunning. and some of those other like big units there. And so I just truly love that deck because I think Cunning is a very fun and exciting high risk, high reward one. And if somebody puts a stop to you early, though, it's game over and you pack it up. But it's a very fun deck to be able to play and mess around with people's hands and what their future options are.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you. I'm just tired of the opponent being the one playing it. I got to build this deck myself and get into it.
It's 100% the deck that's like, oh, I love playing this, and the minute my opponent plays it against me, I go, man, is this what I'm doing to somebody? This is tough. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fun. Sometimes it's a zero sum game for Cunning. I feel like
a little bit.
But anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up here, Xander. I think you provided a lot of really nice insight. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today, run through these questions, and just share your passion and your excitement for Star Wars Limited and organized play, and just teasing some of the exciting things coming. I hope everyone out there is looking forward to the future events. And of course, as Xander mentioned a couple of times, the announcement of season 2, the teases that'll come alongside that. And I hope to see all of you at the Galactic Championships next year as well. Can't miss event for me every year. I think it was probably the most fun event that I did in the last year. So super, super excited to go again. But yeah, again, Xander, thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and we'll see you all in the next one.